Welcome guys. This is the round 1 of freestyle chess. We have the Magnus Carlsen taking on Nodirbek Abdusatro. Magnus Carlsen is currently world number 1 and Nodirbek is currently world number 6. These both are actually great players and this will be a exciting clash between them. Magnus drinks some water and Nodirbek starts to adjust his pieces and we have the shake of hands and Magnus thinks for a bit and plays f5 and removes some dirt from the board. By this move he opens up his bishop diagonal and now Nodirbek thinks for a while and plays f5. He also opens up his bishop diagonal and Magnus thinks for a bit and plays d4. You can see freestyle chess is kind of confusing sometimes because you see he play d4 but is actually in classic chess it is e4. That's why I'm saying Magnus pushes his pawn to e4 and Nodirbek captures it. Magnus recaptures it by his queen. Nodirbek puts his knight to d6. Queen come to e2 and Nodirbek thinks for a bit and plays c6. His idea may be to play bishop c7 and short castles. Maybe. Magnus plays c3. He opens up his bishop diagonal. Yes, what I said he does. He wants to long castle here. Knight comes out to g3. And Nodirbek long castles. You can see how he does it. I know it quite confusing in freestyle chess, but players used to do that. Knight comes out to d3. Bishop pins it. Bishop comes to c2. Magnus wants to long castle here. Nodirbek pushes the pawn to e6. He's planning about which line. Only he knows. Magnus attacks the bishop. You can't take the bishop because there will be a fork then. So that's why he plays queen to d2. Now you can take the knight. Let's see whether he takes it or not. No, he plays bishop to a5, pinning the pawn and also putting pressure here. Now you can't take the bishop because then white will be in big trouble. But Magnus takes it. He sacrifices his queen? What? Magnus is now queen down. He trades two minor pieces for a queen. This is why he is called the god. It may be big trouble for Magnus, but he did it. That's why he is called the god. Rook comes to e1, putting pressure to this pawn. Knight comes to f7. Magnus puts his bishop to b3, putting pressure to this pawn. Nodirbek pushes his pawn to c5. He's also attacking the pawn. Now if you take it, he will also take this pawn. Magnus takes the right pawn, and you can see there is a fork here. He has to be aware of it. Now Magnus thinks for a bit and takes the pawn. And you can see the fork. He gives a check first. Now he has two options, whether he play king to c1 and push king to d3. Let's see what Magnus does. He thinks for a bit and plays king to d1. Knight comes to e6. Magnus chops off the rook. Nodirbek recaptures it. Bishop comes to f3. We have the a5 over the board. Now you can't push your pawn to a4 because then your bishop will be hanging. He plays king to f2. Bishop comes to f6. Knight jumps to b5, attacking the pawn. And also a check is there. Magnus pushes his pawn to e5. Nodirbek thinking a bit. Magnus puts his king to f3. Nodirbek chops off the pawn. And Magnus puts his knight to f4. Wants to jump e6 maybe. Nodirbek plays g5, attacking the pawn. Knight comes to c5. Now Nodirbek has to beware of the check. Nodirbek puts his rook to d8. Rook a1, queen c4. Now the knight is attacked. Magnus defends it by playing rook c1. Knight comes to c3. Magnus chops off the knight with his rook and takes the pawn. This is actually a draw maybe. Nodirbek pushes the pawn. Magnus takes it by his bishop. Rook comes to e5. Attacks the knight. Now you can see the passer here on the b file. He gives a check. You can't take, the bishop is protecting it. Now Magnus puts his knight to b6, attacking the rook. We have a trade of rooks here. Check, and he wins a knight. Now we have two bishops for a rook. This is quite an interesting game. And a game. Bishop comes to f5. And Nodirbek pushes his pawn to h6. Magnus is waiting and also attacking the pawn. Rook comes to b3, defends it. King e2. There we have a check. King comes to c4. Another check. King moves to d7. Bishop moves to e5. We have a fork. And Magnus takes it back. Nodirbek puts his king to f7. And here Magnus is completely winning because he has this beautiful passer. This bishop can't stop it because of the rook. So that's why after few moves Nodirbek resigns the game, and what a beautiful clash between them. First Magnus sacrifices his queen and manages to win against him. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and help me to reach 1000 subscribers. Thank you.